Hey you guys, it's MJ. I just finished sharing on my Facebook profile and I rambled on for a little bit, so I figure why not just ramble on here for a little bit because I know you guys love my rambles and or not, or you vehemently oppose them and unsubscribe or leave a hatey comment because you can deal with my own juice. So good morning and happy Tuesday to you. I wanted to talk about oneness. Now, there's a whole step slash chapter dedicated to oneness in the Fearless Life Guide, which is the book I'm promoting. Well, I wrote it, so I could promote it as a product that I sell. Because everybody's an expert nowadays, right? Everybody's an expert. Everybody knows what we're doing here, or actually, I was sharing that on Facebook about the fact of like, hey, Marco, con la Michelle. I was talking. I randomly went into a ramble about this whole idea of awakening, of like, oh yeah, I had an awakening, and it's not. Oh my god, like I have so much love and compassion, and you know this, but like it's always polarity and contrast when we're ourselves and when we're life and all of that, and more and more and more with this awakening, it's like, oh yeah, my spiritual awakenings and like and this stuff. And then I started to realize, and this is mainly me having sessions with my own teacher, as far as like, we don't stop awakening. So like we had like when I was 19, I had a spiritual awakening and I have been enlightened and awakened ever since. And actually, one of you guys asked me that of like, so like after you had the awakenings, was it like smooth sailing? Hell no. If anything, once you have awakenings, you're just like, ah, how do I deal with life? Where do I fit in? How do I, so it's like this whole journey, even after an awakening, of like finding your way back home. And then continually awakening, uncovering, discovering, remembering more and more of who you are. Hey, MJ, what's up? I'm here, Marco. This is what's up. Right here, my friend. Right here. So some of you guys know, I decided like, okay, let's go back to the material. And this has been reflected back to me actually by one of my like I would say like up there clients, as far as like she really hooked into the material and totally transformed her life. Like in truth, like it's been like a year and a half, but like one polarity to another polarity, fully dove in, like fully invested big time into her transformation. And amazingly, like 2 days ago, I got a message from her being like, I'm so thankful. Here I am again. I'm tooting my own horn, you guys, but this is something new for me, in fairness. But yeah, and I kind of almost wanted to cry when I got her message because I was having a bit of a shit day. And then she just like randomly was like, by the way, I've been journaling and I really needed to reach out. And that's not like her pattern, but this is a new default for her to like express and share how she feels about people. And she's writing down like how thankful she is for me and all to love and this book. And she's like, I just wanted to reflect back to you that my whole life has changed and I am so blissfully happy now. And a year and a half ago, I was in a job I hated with anxiety and depression and like not necessarily seeing a way out, and meeting you was the catalyst that changed everything. And then I reflected back to her, well, interestingly, because I'm really going back to the material. So I'm, as a guide, a teacher, a way shower, whatever, that has been intuitively guided to even produce material like this. Now it's like, I want to keep working with it. I want to keep going over the material because it's profound and it is transformative and it's life changing. So for my own continual evolution, I'm going to work with the material that's been born through me, right? And trust in it, and not belittle it, and not own it as my own method, right? And it is, and it's beautiful. So oneness, you guys. And I've had people like, we get really, it can be incredibly destabilizing and confusing and stuff. Hey, Scott Light Warrior Craig, how are you? I love the long-windedness sometimes of the names, right? Scott, Craig. Yeah, oneness. oneness is sort of paradoxical. I mean, a lot of our creative, think of the yin yang symbol, think of the infinity symbol. There's a cycling and a recycling and a recycling in creative, in creation. But what we have to accept is that within creation there is destruction. That's the yin yang. That's the polarized aspect of creation and form, right? If we're not existing in the void and we're not existing in the pure lightness of form, in the pure information of light, then we need to be dancing between the two. We need to be expanding and creating and contracting to be born and make manifest in form. And so we're really understanding our contrast, our polarity, our light and dark, our heaven and hell, our ebb and flow, our masculine and feminine as beings, as sovereign godlike beings or divine beings. We are remembering the totality of our creative life force, which is the light and the dark, which is a big part of this whole light worker movement, as far as beings that are somehow intuitively aware of the fact that we have to navigate darkness to rise ourselves up. That not only are we facing our own shadow aspects, but we're facing shadow aspects for the collective, those of us that have the awareness to do so, right? Thank you, star brother and sisters. There it is, 11.3. Do you guys like how well I know my own book? Like, I haven't even looked at it for like a couple of years now, and I'm like, oh, I'm rereading it, getting shivers, like legit true, and like crying. And then that was reflected back, which like made my heart like flutter in bursts of like heart vibration love, because someone I had a sesh or a call with, they were just like, yeah, I started reading and bawling, and I'm like, yes. It's like when people like in Shavasana start crying, there's like this weird thing from like the healer mindset of like when somebody's having a release, you're like, brilliant. I could feel that coming. I could feel that release coming. And so that's something been part of my journey as well, like reading text where I'm like, there's such a profound visceral connection made that like you're releasing, right? So I just always think when somebody is like, oh, I cried, I'm like, yes, I made you cry. But from a loving place, right? So the way I describe oneness, like oneness right here, 11.3. So clearly oneness I left right to the end is the most important step in life, in a good and healthy, happy life, and in a life of abundance and manifestation. Manifesting, obviously we're always manifesting, but like manifesting on the high, on like the highest level, is you rested in peace, right? Rest in peace is this whole idea. It's set to dump all more in the now. It's set to dump all more in the now. Beautiful. And I think that's legit, Scott Craig, or Light Warrior. We are here in the now, and every single one of us has a unique process for the now presence of who we are. And I think the more we are open to that, the more we can allow that for ourselves and for other to be the presence that they are, and not be either perpetually triggered or not be perpetually defending and attacking and all of that kind of stuff. Because a lot of us, when we're in the healing phase, we're just having to recycle and go over and recycle, pardon me, these patterns. And that's where a lot of us have been for these last few years, consciously looking at patterns of darkness and destruction that we've been carrying, whether from our own life, karma, or people, family, I mean. So the way I unify now, this has a lot to do with 0 point. It has a lot to do with alignment. It's a lot to do also, I mean, with quantum physics and how we understand and connect the threads, like the most subtle and profound and unifying threads of all energy practice and all world religions, because there are threads that connect the truth of the teachings all together. And what's happening in my awareness anyway is that we are now living in a time where our scientific world and study is evolving to unify and meet with the ancient teachings of many, many of our more authentic and core spiritual teachings. Yeah. So we've got um, the study of quantum physics, quantum mechanics, and quantum coherence is actually showing us the oneness field of our existence, i.e., the energy with which we are all created and the energy with which we see creation is one energy. There's no separation. And this is how we come to better understand our creative output as beings, is that we have to understand the unity of creation itself and of that which we see, and thus the unity of our vessel, i.e., thoughts, breath, feelings, projections. None of it's separate from the self that you are. And that is often the biggest, that's the pill. Like in the Matrix, that's like the pill we all have to swallow at some point in order to awaken to our Neo, to be the one, right? The one creator, to be the Neo of your own, to be the star of your own movie. You got to take that pill, the pill that's hard to swallow for any of us on the awakening path or the manifestation path. It's that it's great to own all the good shit that we've manifested, like, oh yeah, look at my awesome life, or oh my god, like I make so much money, I'm an awesome manifester. And then the moment we have opposition, the moment something goes wrong in our life, we start blaming people, we start attacking people, government, fucking Donald Trump needs to clean this shit up, or well, if it weren't for those Syrian people, right? We default into this blame and attack culture, and ultimately that's what this or any kind of authentic love movement or teaching or spiritual teaching is about, unifying that. That is the ultimate sin. That is the ultimate conflict in our own self and the self of the humanity, of the consciousness of one body, of Christ consciousness, right? So that one body is having to remember its truth and authenticity to shine it out in unity. And that again is part of the paradox of the idea of oneness, because the idea of oneness, a lot of us, is what people call the false light. It's this love light bubble that we're all loving each other and we're all one. Yeah, we are all one in essence, but we at the same time are all signature frequencies of the one energy, which means my vibrational resonance is completely unique to Joe down the road, or Marianne up the lane. So these resonances are reflections of stuff that I'm carrying. Now we would say that the density, the dark stuff, the ugly stuff, the painful stuff, the stuff we don't want to own, that's the shadow. That's the unconscious. That's the stuff we're not aware of. Like for me, these last few years of having cycles of men treating me really badly and like running away from me and rejecting me and using me, I've had to basically own all of that as my own. Like, oh, I have unconscious negative projections to men, and yeah, they make sense. It makes sense because of my life path, because of my karma, because of my past life path, because of how I've lived and projected stuff. And I'm glad. I'm glad I had the resource and the emotional awareness to work through it and burn through it and not blame these guys for maybe being players or maybe being liars. It's not like they're just being them, right? And that's how I do this work, is that I just unhook the blame and attack thought as quickly as I can. As quickly as I can, and I drop into the space, the feeling. And I've just been sitting with a lot of pain. Oh, look, there's that rejected little girl. And there's that abandoned little, and there's that teenager who took on stuff from the media or took on stuff from a conversation she overheard her mom having with a group of her girlfriends. Like, we just have multi-layered assumptions and beliefs that we're projecting out there, whether we like it or not. So our opportunity to grow when shitty shit happens to our lives is the transformational power of now. I can be here now and go, wow, I'm uncomfortable. Wow, I've just been rejected. Wow, I've just been dumped over and over and over again. And I can still just transform and burn through that pain and choose to see men in a better light. And ultimately that transforms. Then suddenly, like, my friends show up in a better way. And then suddenly I start to attract like male clients who are fucking badass and who are honest, awesome reflections who reflect my worth, not try to patronize me, not try to date me, not try to swindle free sessions, right? So it's like the more we work on ourselves, the more we transform. But it is the unconscious shadow, darkness, stress. It's the shitty shit that we don't want to own. And that's the stuff that more and more of us, as we teach the teachings, we got to continue to permission one another, which is why I share here so vulnerably, which some of you find a bit uncomfortable, or you just want to fix it, like stop feeling that way. Don't da 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 da. I share really vulnerably because I want to share the process with you guys. I'm not crying because I feel rejected. I'm crying with you guys to share, like, wow, look, see, this is the pain of this kind of projection of hating on men, or men always do this, or men behave like that. That's my burden. As a woman, however, I highly doubt I'm the only one. And that's why I share publicly, because a lot of us can meditate and show up like I'm calm and I've got all the teachings all sorted out and I'm a perfect, radiant creator and all that kind of stuff. And I continue to work on that. But at the same time, I like being super transparent to the fact that we are all human. Every single one of us, even Sadhguru, even Deepak Chopra, even all of these people who have been doing the work for ages, they're human just like you and I. My biggest message is never ever, never ever let anybody, no matter how important they are, no matter how much money they have, never ever let anyone make you feel bad about who you are. If me or anyone on the internet or in the world out there, if they're saying something or doing something that's making you feel small, that's making you feel not enough, walk away, turn it off, and then clear it all away and come back to yourself. And that's part of the four courses for All to Love, you guys. That's part of these Be the Change courses, is that I think it's really important to not just say, just sit your ass down and meditate. There's more that we can do. Unplug from TV, clean up the diet. And I'm not a nutritionist, I'm not any of that, but I gotta say, for the most part, I'm a vegan. And to me, that just aligns with my heart and my soul. And I eat whatever I want, whenever I want. Some days I eat green juice and salad and apples. And another day I'm eating vegan mac and cheese and cheesy pie and all the carbs and all the da 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 I want, because we're in cycles. And some days you want that and some days you don't. But for us to become more clear channels, yeah, what we're eating, if we're eating in alignment with the truth of our loving soul, then we're not going to use food to hate on us. We're not going to use tobacco to hate on us. We're not going to use booze to hate on us. We're not going to use anything outside of us against us. Everything we use, in essence, is in harmony with our own evolution. And that's the oneness. That's the importance of oneself getting connected to the one self that you are. But the representation of the one self for each and every one of us is unique. Hence why things like even comparison or competition is actually a huge detriment to the evolution of our soul, because there is no way, like snowflakes. Nice, right? Like snowflakes. There is no way to compare the signature of the essence that we are. No way. And I can't even functionally teach you. All I can do is keep vibrating my own truth and my own awakening and my own expansion, in knowing that on a vibrational level, that is truly all that teaches. Words don't teach, vibration does. We don't change one another by forcefully dictating someone's mind and mechanically manipulating positive thinking for somebody. We affect change by being it, by showing one another. And that's ultimately the pillars for All to Love as a movement, that we ground these pillars of veganism, a zero waste, minimalist lifestyle, of love and compassion for the animals and all sentient beings, and then unplug from the mainstream and get spiritual, get connected. That's the four pillars. Stop consuming so insanely, as in unplug, go vegan, go zero waste. And when we talk about zero waste, that's why we call the course Zenful, because the shit is overwhelming. It can be overwhelming when you make a change and suddenly realize that, holy shit, the oceans, we're killing the oceans, and everyone around me is just blindly consuming to no end. So that's why we call it Zenful, and that's why it's an online community of us, of the Team Love here, to share, to consult, to coach. Katie is your teacher and she's also a zero waste coach. So if you ever want to book sessions with Katie, you can always get in touch with us and have private coaching sessions with somebody who has transitioned, and she doesn't claim to be some perfect minimalist zero waste diva. She's somebody who on a daily level makes a concerted effort, and she's really, really close to being zero waste. And she even sort of says, like, is it even possible? Because there's things we do that just waste. And until we systematically overhaul the industry, then we'll just be kind of treading water with this movement. And it's great we're cleaning up the oceans, but we've got to tackle it from both ends. So we have to actually stop producing the shit, and then right down the middle we have to inspire one another to stop consuming blindly, right? Because it's not really good for us as beings, and it's anything that's not really good for us isn't good for the planet either. You're traveling the world. Yeah, let's. I'm going to be in Bali. I'm leaving for Bali on Sunday. And then I'm back in the UK. So wherever you are, if you come to the UK or if you go to Indonesia, let me know. Yeah, it'd be good. I know. And that's the understanding of the love in the heart, is that your love isn't attached to the stuff. There's just this overflow of love for like all of life. No, with this divine realization. I mean, that was a huge part of my own awakening, was like just staring at the sunset, being like knowing that I'm like one with this epic fucking sunset, being like, oh my God. Like just tears of love and gratitude at like the love I felt, the benevolence, the love, the grace of connection to this beautiful, exquisite realm, right? Soon, Australia. So where are you now, my friend? And if you're in that part of the world, do you think you'll be in Bali? I'll be in the southern peninsula for the first like 10 days, and then I'm going to Lombok to deliver funds to the family I met last year. Email me, dude. It'd be good to hear from you and to connect, because I'm actually, if you are around and we can connect, I'm conducting interviews for the next course, Spirituality Simplified. And considering you're Scotlight Warrior Craig tuning into my channel, I'm assuming you're on a spiritual path, my friend. And if you are randomly in Bali, in the month of December, let's connect and I'll conduct an interview with you. And it's not like serious stuff. It's just me, obviously, Spirituality Simplified. It's my own personal perspective of spirituality and getting right to the core with people rather than go fluffing about. Even talking about stuff like oneness probably won't necessarily be featured in any kind of in-depth way. Or it might be, but hey ho. But because I can feel the download coming in and I'm really like, I'm super excited to crack on with the work. So yeah, if you're in Bali, let's connect. I'd love to do an interview with you, which is me just asking. I have about 2 or 3 people so far that I'm going to interview, and I just have the same questions across the board for everybody about like, so what is spirituality to you? And how does spirituality or a spiritual practice help improve your life? Make it simple for people. And then get a little bit of like nuggets from people from different walks of life, so that those nuggets can help people on their path. Because that's, I would say, a lot of us kind of trailblazers in this whole like awakening paradigm shift thing. Like part of the biggest ish, even for like a lot of us here in the now had parents who were like in the 60s revolutionary energy. And, these people are still protesting and talking about the same thing. And like, we're coming into that. And more and more and more, I think the reason the awakening is accelerating is like, with, blah, 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 blah. I'm reading that at the same time with you. Awesome. Perfect. Yay. Email me. Oh, it's that the reason we can continue to accelerate the awakening and the paradigm shift is because there's more of us and because there's the internet. Because for a lot of us, say 20 years ago or 15 or whatever years ago, we didn't have the internet like we have now. And so we didn't have each other. So a lot of it for me was just being like, Like, I'm so alone and I'm so alien. And so our hope here is that as more of the collective continues to awaken, they won't feel so alone for so long. They'll might feel a bit alone, and then they'll find community, they'll find people, they'll find peeps that they res with, and they'll be like, "Oh, cool. Oh, so this awakening thing is pretty normal. Oh, right. So I'm not going insane. Yeah, no, you're good. You're good. All right. So I don't have to be all lonely and alienated. No, 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 you're good. You got paradigm over here. New paradigm over here. Come on over." And that's kind of how I see it. We light up, we help activate and light up more people light up, more people remember, they da, 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 and it's just like an exponential growth thing. Okay, cool. Nice one, Marco. Spotlight Warrior Craig. Interview and movie documentary with me in it. I will email you with money. Okay, well, that's cool, dude. If you are in Bali, woohoo! And then I would love to just do an interview about your journey, and that would be super fun. Take care. Peace out, you guys. Have an awesome day.